Hey guys, welcome to today's episode on my Pioneer Scuba channel. I have something special here that I want to show you. This is a Poseidon Unisuit Drysuit that is from the 1980s. I believe it is from 1980 exactly, based on the date, the material, and the style. I'm going to be diving this Drysuit today, and it's 2025, so this Drysuit is 45 years old, approximately. So I'm going to be going over some of the features at a later point. The Chichimon is in the background. I'm here up in Tobermory, Ontario. So without further ado, excuse the volume, and I'm going to put the suit on and show you some of the unique pieces to it. So it has this weird zipper here that actually goes from the back all the way underneath the crotch into the front. So you need two people to get into it. It also has a built-in hood. The wrist seals are not original. I had to replace these, and I just did it in half an hour, and it has soapy water on it right now to make it a little bit easier to get into. Over that in a second. So I'm going to take my hat off. Usually I'm wearing my Abyss Drysuit, but today I'm wearing my Poseidon suit, so take the Abyss hat off. Ready. So the first part to it is you got to get it in over your head. So just want to make sure that the neck and hood are open. So you're going to grab those, take it, and just pull real tight. That is the first step. Right, so it's kind of weird. You spread out the suit a bit more now. And then you're going to get your arms in. They recommend to grab your sleeve, push it through. There you go. That seal's done nice and easy. Just roll that back over. That was some soapy water. In the manual from the 70s and 80s, they recommend using silicone spray, which isn't really the best. We have better alternatives now. Okay, so that is on. So I'm going to take off my shoes, put my night socks on. Could have worn a thicker pair of socks, but I didn't know. And now you're thinking, well, what next? Well, you actually have to step into it. So we're going to do the left leg first. You can do it from the sitting or standing position. I've done both. I find the standing's actually easier for me, just because I can get some better leverage. Kind of shimmy in there. Step into the other leg. So it's really not all that difficult considering some of the suits we have today on the market. This was one of the first. Maybe it came out in 1976 or 77. We'll talk more about the history afterwards. But not a bad offering. So that is it. You have a neoprene neck seal, which again just folds over. Right, you're going to tuck it in like any other seal. You've got a hood that goes on top. I have latex wrist seals. These came in with skin-in neoprene, so you have to slide your arm through, and that's how it's sealed around. They're very heavy duty, but the ones on this one actually ripped, so I had to replace them. You've got your exhaust valve on your chest, which is just a push. There is no automatic exhaust. You have to manually exhaust it. There is no exhaust on the arm. Inflator is here. It is the Viking or CEJN style of inflator. So you can press on that to inflate it. I'm just going to get my buddy to zip me up, and I'll show you the rest. Okay, so as you can see here, the zipper has been done up. I had to have my dive buddy fold down and around, and it's still got good flexibility and mobility. So we're going to get geared up, and I'll be using my Poseidon regulator as well, with my Poseidon suit. So we'll show you that. So this is the beginning of the dive in the Poseidon Unisuit Drysuit. I'm with my dive buddy, and we're just progressing to visit one of the wrecks, the Alice G in Tobermory. So here I am about to exhaust the Drysuit, and that's exactly how you have to do it. Because if you're in trim on your stomach in that Superman pose, the air won't come out if you press the button. In fact, water actually might get in, just because this is a push type of exhaust. So you have to point your chest up and then the air will vent out. So, for some history of the Poseidon Unisuit Drysuit. I had spoke before and said this suit came out in 1976 or 77 for the first time. I misremembered. It was actually 1968 when Poseidon designed this drysuit. In that same year, they also received a patent for the gas-proof zipper used on the suit. There were several suits in the US several years before that were made with a gas-proof zipper that were mainly used in the commercial industry. However, this was the first drysuit commercially available with a zipper. Other suits existed before then, going back to the hard hat diving days, and those were twist and tuck suits that had to be folded, and you had to tie them up with bands, and they weren't really dry, and they didn't have any inflation valves either. It was more so the air that was in the suit that was what you had for insulation and buoyancy during the dive. So the buoyancy characteristics of this suit are probably similar to a 5mm or 4mm crushed neoprene dry suit. It's not as buoyant as my Abyss 7mm dry suit, but probably a bit more buoyant than my Abyss crushed neoprene 4mm dry suit. So I was using a fair bit of weight to get down. You can probably see that I don't have any air in my wane, and I really didn't use the wane at all. It was just putting air into the suit. And I probably could have used another 3 to 4 pounds just to get me down and keep me down, but I was able to control my buoyancy, again with my lungs and with the suit, being able to inflate it and deflate it as needed for changes in depth. For being a 45-year-old suit, it held up really well in the water. I was very impressed with the buoyancy characteristics and the mobility characteristics as well. I didn't feel like I was being held back by the suit and by how thick it was. It definitely had some very good mobility, especially in the arms, because the zipper wasn't across the back. Okay, so I just took the Poseidon Unisuit Drysuit for a dive, and my initial thoughts, I'll just tell you guys quickly now. The suit is dry, so this suit, after 45 years, I didn't have any more leakage than I would in another dry suit. Of course, the wrists, they leak a little bit if your hands move around. That's on any dry suit. The neoprene neck seal was nice and warm. The built-in hood was nice. Towards the end of the dive, I did notice, though, that there was a massive pocket of air towards my neck. It's probably just how the suit was designed, right? The air just starts to pool towards the top. The boots were excellent. These things, they're very thin. They're kind of like vulcanized rubber, so they don't really compress. Much better than anything DUI has to offer. Not knocking you DUI, just saying. I had your suits and wasn't a big fan of the boots, but these things, 45 years old, fantastic. The inflator is very rapid, so you only have to give it a couple puffs. It's probably the fastest inflator I've seen, very similar to an Apex, probably 5 times faster than a Cytec valve. The exhaust valve is very funny. You have to roll and have it pointed up for the air to come out. It's not automatic either, so as I was ascending, I did have to do this roll, as I demonstrated on video, and give it a puff just to exhaust the gas as it expanded. Poseidon did a great job, and I really hope that you consider bringing back a dry suit at some point. This is the first version of the Unisuit. There was a later version that had a zipper that came up and around the neck. It was even better than this. Guys, I really think you should bring it back. As always, thank you for tuning in to today's episode on my Pioneer Scuba channel. This was a lot of fun to do, and I hope to take this suit out and give it some more testing, perhaps on a deeper wreck like the Forest City. We'll take it down to 130 or 140 feet and see how it holds up and if the neoprene compresses or if it maintains its shape and keeps its warmth. If you have anything else that you'd like to see, especially vintage or older diving content, I'm always happy to do that, as I have a fairly extensive collection of unique equipment, and I'm happy to show it off or do a dive with it. Just let me know on the comment section or send me a message at pioneer.scuba on Instagram. Take care, and I'll see you next time.